Can you all see my chart? Yeah. Took two loss, no win. A lot of winning trades. Yeah, I missed out pound dollar as well. But anyway, I think it's just part of the game. So one short, one long AU winners, 3R. Nice one. Yep. Thanks, Calvin, Chris, Esther. So Wednesday still holding dollar yen. You mean short, right? If you're holding dollar yen long, I'll be very concerned. If it's short, then it's fine. I held Aussie dollar for a week during your previous setup. Finally closes midweek stress. Yeah, it's not moving at all. I know. I understand. But anyway, I'll go through why I still took Aussie dollar long in a bit. So four trades, two win, two loss, around 15.5%. Crazy week that I know. Did a very good job. Super happy for you. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. So yeah, news wise, we have Dollar Juice job opening on Tuesday, and just don't remember we have the daylight saving thing. One of our trader, not sure which one of you actually reminded us, so really appreciate that. Then we have Wednesday dollar CPI, main news, Canadian overnight rate as well. Thursday PPI, which is okay. So this week is not heavy news week. So let's begin. So if you look at the DXY, obviously it melted very heavily, and it was exactly according to our initial game plan long time ago. If you all have been following our day-to-day setups breakdown and obviously our weekly meeting since I think it was mid or late January, when the DXY first failed at this 109.31, that was already when I said, hey, if DXY fail at this 109.30, we are expecting some weakness. So indeed, the TPF has established very nice TPF. In fact, one of the craziest one, especially on index. Price then also formed a BNR printing a lower high at 107.5. So this one is also another confirmation of weakness. And that's why many of us we have been looking for longs on the cross dollar pairs. Unfortunately, I took long on Aussie dollar, which happens to be the one that didn't run. If it took long on pound dollar, euro dollar, they would have been really nice. And it was something that I've already discussed since 2 weeks ago. So DXY is still weak. So when I see DXY pushing down like this, I normally don't try to say, so when is the pullback? When can I predict a pullback? So when this pullback, can I short the cross dollar pairs? I don't do that. So when price is printing a clear lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low on a DXY, I was just move back to the pair and really just spot the setup instead of really staring at the DXY, predicting the exact movement on the DXY, which is something I don't encourage any of you to do it. Again, if you know DXY is bearish, you know it's bearish. Just focus on the setup that you want to take. JPYX, this thing has been consolidating, but overall price action is still looking very strong. Daily is holding above the moving averages, which is again sign of strength. So expecting DXY to break out of this 764, continue pushing to 784. So if you are looking to trade the cross yen pairs, I would say I still believe they will drop for at least another 1 to 2 months based on the price action on the JPYX. I'm not here saying JPYX is completely bullish, but based on the price action, if you look at the weekly time frame, this thing is just overstretched. Even if JPYX pull all the way back to 850, I wouldn't be surprised as well. We might turn back into a long-term downtrend, but we are just very overstretched. And yeah, so expecting more JPYX strength in the upcoming 1 to 2 months. So far, we have been correct since December 2024. For the past 3 months, we've been seeing strength on the JPYX, and let's see if we can expect more strength pushing price into 785. So if let's say JPYX goes up, that means the cross yen pairs will go down. So Wayne is sending something. Let me see. I'm using my phone and my MacBook at the same time. All right. Do you trade JPYX, Wayne? Do you trade the index? No? Yeah. But anyway, price action is looking strong. Expect more strength to the upside. That's it. If you all want to see what um Wayne sent, you can actually have a look at the chat, the Zoom chat. Adrian is fine. Let's move on to the actual pair. So gold first. Gold is looking extremely strong still. And that's one of the main reason why, yeah, this thing is just the only way you can trade this is you just keep buying the dip. But sometimes we still have to stick to our strategy. Buying the dip is not a strategy, unfortunately. You actually need to know what's the exact entry technique, what's the exact system that you're looking for. So I don't have any pattern to trade on gold right now. Some of you might say, is this a bearish TPF? When market is on a strong, we call it a pro trend like this, I really don't like to trade reversal, sort of reversal type TPF going against the overall uptrend. It's not the way I trade unless price comes back below, then there's an opportunity to go short. But for now, it's just strong. Ignore, try to avoid any short setup for now, for the time being, because many of you for the past, I'll say, for the past 1 to 2 months have been approaching me or sending me journal. And when I look at the journal, most of them are just gold short. I don't really understand why, but price action is so strong, it is very difficult to short it. Yeah, most of the time it's just your directional buys. So this thing is very strong. I have no setup on this one, no strategy to tackle this. Let's move on. So, I'm currently still in Aussie dollar long. Obviously, held this over the weekend. Right now, it's still around BE. I believe there'll be some swaps as well. So, let me just roughly share with you all why did I still decide to go long on Aussie dollar. So, if you all have been following up, you know that previously it was last week I actually took a loss on Aussie dollar around 0.60, similar entry as well. Stop loss very similar as well. And after we get stopped out, I caught this setup inside the inside the setups channel. After getting stopped out on that day itself or the next day on our setups breakdown, I actually say I would not be looking to re-enter Aussie dollar long unless price reclaims strength above that 0.63. So let's talk about why do I focus so much on the 0.63? Because this is a weekly support. So if let's say market is able to sort of reverse from this major support at 0.62 and manage to close back above the 0.63 and hold above the swing low, that would be such a nice first long-term TPF, second thing a BNR setup. That's the main reason why I had my initial game plan there. I just have to stick to it. Horace also brought up a very good question this week. He asked, hey, comparing to I mean compare Aussie dollar to euro dollar and pound dollar. Why would you choose Aussie dollar instead of pound dollar and euro dollar? And I do want to be frank with one thing. My initial game plan was also to participate on pound dollar. But again, unfortunately, didn't tap my entry. Some of you actually caught it. Very nice. 5R, 10R. Beautiful. I do want to get in on pound dollar on the pullback into 125.37. I was looking at a much deeper retracement on pound dollar. Unfortunately, it didn't come back. And we didn't quite form another BNR at 126.79 as well. So there's no entry on pound dollar, simply sticking to my system. However, if you go down onto the 15-minute, you can possibly see a bull flag here. Can you all see this? There was actually a bull flag on the 15-minute on GU, but again, I didn't take it as I was not aware of the lower time frame. So missed out the entire move on pound dollar. To me, obviously, is not a very pleasant feeling to miss out such a big move, but there's nothing much I can do. So Aussie dollar, I took the re-entry on Friday exactly as per our initial game plan. So I took it as price hold back above the 0.63, and right now it is still around there. Well, it's actually a few pips above my entry, and I would like to see if we can see more strength or not. If let's say I get stopped out the second time, there will be no more re-entry on Aussie dollar. So I just want to make sure all of you are very clear of this. It is very important to have a strict re-entry criteria. To me, first attempt was a loss. Took my second attempt as price revalidate my initial thesis. If I get stopped out the second time, there'll be no more chance. Would you say there are any skilled opportunity? Yes, there are. If price can close above that 0.6362, I don't mind scaling in. Yeah, because this is more of a swing trade as well. I really don't mind. But for now, as price is still around my entry, there's no point thinking about scaling in. Let's observe further. So Shenron will be adding back to normal size. Since the high impact news is over, I will. But let's see tomorrow. Yeah, just try not to rush it on Monday open. Anyway, Aussie dollar, I'll also be talking about this again in our setups breakdown video tomorrow. So don't worry about this. Pound dollar is very stretchy. It's getting a little bit difficult to get back in. Then move on to euro dollar as well. Yeah, entry wise, there's not much here, but initially we were looking for a retest at this 104.85 as well. It didn't come back again because pound dollar and euro dollar both was just extremely strong. So there's no pullback as well. Price completely just blasted to the upside. If you're looking for any re-entry, the following re-entry will actually be somewhere around 106.90 to 106.60. So that's the possible re-entry here. I don't think price will come back anymore. It's a very stretchy, it is quite a distance here. Imagine if price were to consume the entire bullish impulse here, that would be quite scary, right? So I expect price to print higher low, defending 106.87 and just continue pushing higher. So again, I'm very bullish on euro dollar and especially pound dollar as well. If you are looking to trade, just buy and wait for a pullback. I will again talk about these in details in tomorrow as well if I see any potential setup. So Aussie dollar is done. Dollar Canadian, we were correct about this. It was a smart choice not to touch dollar CAD as well. And in fact, dollar Swiss was so much cleaner. Yeah, if you all remember, we talked about dollar Swiss. This thing is just a lot better, a lot weaker. If you're looking to trade dollar Swiss, you can perhaps continue shorting into this. But entry wise, there's not much possible entry level since the bearish momentum is quite clear. The only swing high I can see right now is actually around this possible TPF zone. So if price pulls back into 0.8920, this is also a possible TPF short opportunity, more of a continuation setup on dollar Swiss. So many say, would the Aussie dollar 0.6368 be a resistance zone, even maybe even TPF? Let's have a look at Aussie dollar. So 0.6368. You mean do you mean this area? Wait, Manny, can you post the chart here? So Sebastian, for the Aussie dollar trade, you ended using a limit order with a wider stops due to the aggressive entry. It's not just aggressive entry, Sebastian. It was actually because Friday we have a news as well. We have a red news on Friday, so it's more of a protective thing to have a wider stop. If an obvious TPF form in the lower time frame, would you consider tightening a stop? Of course. The lower the time frame you trade, naturally your stop loss will be tighter as well. That is just a logical thing, right? Because when you're looking at the lower time frame, the range is becoming shorter, it's becoming tighter. The pattern is forming faster as well. So obviously you have a tighter stop loss. Um, would you consider tightening stop loss of the initial position to the right shoulder or the head of the TPF? Most of the time, if the shoulder zone, okay, let me give you an example. So if let's say we have a TPF is that clean, let's say a shoulder. If let's say you have such a clean TPF, putting a stop loss above, let's assume we are trying to go long, we're trying to buy the TPF, your stop loss below the shoulder zone is more than enough. The tricky part is often when market is coming back too aggressive, or if, let's say, you enter not exactly at the shoulder zone, then obviously your stop loss has to be sacrificed a little bit. Most of the time, it is more than enough to do that, unless the distance between the shoulder and the head is very close. Let's say something like this. If let's say the distance between the shoulder and the head is very close, then obviously we will be placing our stops below. Sorry, we'll be placing our stops below the head. Why not, right? For a safer approach. This approach enhances the risk-reward ratio as there is now a structure to lead the stop loss behind. Yes, correct, Sebastian. So Tommy always telling us to not change the bias. Want to hear, for example, for yen index, which level would you reconsider and reassess again on the bullish bias? Let's go to JPY. So again, Aussie dollar, remember, I'm still in a trade and I'll just let it run. Go back to JPYX. So under what circumstance would I consider reassessing this? Is if the first red flag will be JPYX breaking below the 757 sort of a recent swing low. That will be the first red flag. But this red flag doesn't immediately invalidate our thesis, right? Makes sense, Tommy? The big invalidation would be price again print a bearish market structure, something like this. Then by that time, we'll be changing our bias. And let me just share with all of you the importance, or let's say the best thing about having a very structured way of studying your directional bias. Let's say we have been bullish on JPYX for a very long time. So many of us and many of you have been using this JPYX pullback. For example, when price pulled back to 745, if you'll remember, I said that the market structure is now turning bullish as price holds above that 745. We're expecting this to go up. All we do is we stick to the same direction until it gets invalidated. And that's why if you study one of our lessons, we actually have 2 lessons on this topic, which is invalidation point. It is so important to actually have an invalidation point that tells you, okay, only when price tap this level, I'm done. If price holds above this level, I will stick to the same direction. All I do is I wait for pullback. And this makes your trading so much stress-free. All of you agree? Instead of constantly trying to study the index, constantly trying to study the pair, and you keep trying to flip direction. Oh, the yen index is a bit overstretched. Let me predict some pullback. When you start having too much subjectivity in your system, that's when you start losing money. So what if JPYX forms a TPF with the right shoulder? Yeah, I do see this, but us as a short-term trader, what do we care the most? This. If let's say JPYX really print a TPF here at 764, and if it really does drop, once it breaks below 757, that's when we will start saying, hey, this is a red flag. You get it, Zheng Yang? So until price do that, we don't predict the TPF. Okay? Because anyway, we still don't trade JPYX. This is more of a reference point for us. So there's no need to overthink. If price really does form a TPF 764, and if it does break below 757, that will be the time we say, okay, hey, something is wrong here. Let us reassess everything all over again. Get it? This is, again, it all depends on what kind of approach you're striving for. Some traders, they're happy to be extremely flexible. Flexible as in they can just keep flipping direction every single day. To me, I feel like why make your trading so stressful if all you can do is just really understand what's the overall market structure. So Eugene asked, if JPYX do print a bearish TPF, do you consider it as a clean or messy type TPF? Looking very weaky. Obviously, it's not the cleanest one. Yeah, it's not the cleanest one. It looks to me it's just like a piece of consolidation rather than a TPF. But anyway, let's just wait and see. We don't trade the indexes. We just use this as an extra confirmation to our setup. And it was because of how we've been insisting on how we've been being disciplined on our JPY is bullish. We stick to the sales on the cross yens. Many of our traders here have broken their PR. If you were to, okay, let's have a look at dollar yen. Many of our traders here have been just shorting dollar yen, shorting dollar yen, shorting dollar yen, and some of you are still holding it. Since when? 154.20. Okay. How do we know dollar yen is can we at the first place, can we even predict that dollar yen was going to turn so bearish? We don't know. All we do is first thing, we know that dollar yen was respecting our initial game plan. Then market is validating our trade idea. Why do you change your trade idea when market is saying, hey, you're correct, you're correct? Then second thing is JPY is also respecting our trade idea so well since the very beginning. Why would you want to tweak your game plan? You're just wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, right? Eugene asked, do you take into account of fundamentals or purely look at technical? To me, technical. Yeah. If I were to trade BTC, I might look at the fundamental because that thing is too volatile. But for FX, personally, I find fundamental not very useful. Some of you might agree, might disagree. It all depends. There's no right or wrong. If you can prove yourself that you can use that fundamental data to assist you or become part of your system, why not? Yeah, I mean, there's no downside, right? Hey Neil, would you consider holding through CPI if AU is running a profit? I will. Yeah, I will. So let's go back to chart again. Hope I didn't suddenly jump to uh the Q&A. Anyway, there's not much here. I will talk about the cross yens in the upcoming days, maybe Monday or Tuesday, but so far I still don't see anything. But I'm observing some of these SNR zone for potential short. And anyway, let's move on. Nothing. You see, pound Aussie is really strong. That was also something that I said, right? Some of you were looking to short the cross Aussies, and we said that is way too aggressive. It's not good to short it. Bitcoin is dropping as per our initial plan. When Bitcoins were spiking up, I told all of you to not forget that 92K is a major resistance, right? And guess what? We really did come back. So yeah, market structure will never lie. Just stick to the market structure. Such a clean BNR, right? At 91.6K. So Shenron, how would you be adding the size back into AU after BOS? If let's say, if let's say tomorrow when market open, obviously we need some time for market to settle down. But if let's say market open is still there, it's not moving, I might add back maybe another 20, 30 lots. Yeah. I'll just add back at my initial entry price. Or if price starts going higher, then I will only be adding back my full size when price breaks above that 0.6358. It's more of a skill end plus adding back my size. Yeah, because there's no way to add back in for now. Neil, can you look at Nasdaq and S&P 500? They might form a reversal TPF of a major level. When you say Nasdaq, you mean Nas 100, right? Correct? Because I don't really trade it. Let's have a look. Any other pair you would like me to discuss? Not the Kiwi, anyway, except except New Zealand. Anything else? Watching 696 Aussie yen. What? Let me see. There's one. Okay. Oh, price action is looking very, very bearish. We do have a major, just on the first glance, I can see a very major TPF coming up. I will be looking to short this if I were trading Nasdaq. Super simple setup. Textbook style TPF on a high time frame. Some more really good. So we're watching US 100. US 1. Looking bearish as well. Another TPF formation. Exactly the same thing here. Can you see a left shoulder at 20.6K? Exactly the same thing. Move on to Aussie yen. Aussie yen, because of the Aussie weakness, Aussie yen turns out to be the best pair to go short. Uh, yeah, if I'm looking to trade this, the only setup that I can see for now is another BNR, a short-term BNR at 94.56 level. So it will be break and retest, expecting price to push into 92.45 Tai Hong. That's the only setup I can see was with the hatred and then New Zealand. Just kidding, just kidding. Wayne say, yes, we have the same view. Wayne, exactly the same thing. For you has 100. Eugene say, right now, right now, the situation with Aussie and the rest of the cross dollars is that it's not moving in tandem because Aussie is weakening as quick as dollar. Yes, correct. According to technical, do you take this into account that there might be a potential reversal in AU to gain strength so that AU can move back into tandem with Hmm. Let me read this again. Right now, the situation with Aussie dollar and the rest of cross dollar is that it's not moving tandem because Aussie is weakening as quick as dollar. According to technicals, do you take this into account that there might be a potential reversal in? You mean, okay, okay, I get what you mean, Eugene. So you're trying to say that because right now Aussie dollar is is lagging behind. So do you expect Aussie dollar to pick up to follow that pound dollar and euro dollar? Is my understanding correct? Eugene, is it? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, okay. So Eugene is trying to say, let me explain to some of you, or if you already understand. So he's trying to say that, so right now, Aussie dollar is looking slow as compared to uh, pound dollar, as compared to, you see, pound dollar is moving up very strong, euro dollar is moving up very strong as well, but Aussie dollar is falling behind. So Eugene is trying to say that, do I think that since Aussie dollar is behind, euro dollar and pound dollar will slow down, or this one will slow down to sort of match with Aussie dollar? Or do I think that Aussie dollar will pick up so that it does sort of go side by side with pound dollar and euro dollar? The answer is I don't think so. This is again not based on technical anymore. This is more of a prediction, which is something I don't do. What I can say is, even though all three of them are against the dollar, but each of the base currency has different strength slash weakness. So this is not something that is been proven. This is also not something that we can predict. What I can say is just stick to market structure. Just stick to our strategy to set up. Yeah. Also US time. Same things. When saying your US one and S one is the same. Thanks for letting me know. I don't really trade them, but anyway, thanks. Should dollar cap possible long if price return to bottom range? Mm, I don't think so. Okay, let me just share my quick thought process to Sheng Rong here. So if let's say I see DXY is so weak, but dollar CAD is just not dropping, I would just much prefer to not touch it. As opposed to Aussie dollar, I have to stick to my initial game plan because it's been in my game plan for some time. But for dollar CAD, I will say it is much better to probably just don't touch it. Like if you really want to trade, why not you trade dollar Swiss or dollar yen? Something that is a lot clearer, right? So why wanna scratch your head trading dollar CAD when you know that if let's say it's because you see DXY is so bloody weak. This is so bloody weak, but dollar CAD is just not moving. Yeah, that means both the currency are sort of fighting to say, oh, who's stronger, who's weaker, right? So in a sense, if you don't have the imbalance in the market, there's no money in the market. So imbalance means if you see price ranging, it's called a balanced market. We have an equal amount of, we can say, buyers and sellers. That's why market is not moving, right? It's in a period of agreement. Imbalanced market means disagreement, right? We don't agree that price deserves to be at this price. That's why it dropped. If we feel like if everyone feels like market is too cheap, that's why it goes up. That's why we call disagreement slash imbalance market. So right now, dollar CAD is obviously balanced. So just wait until dollar CAD actually form a bearish market structure, then you can trade. Yeah. Because right now, because right now Aussie dollar has the best price position, hence we are taking let me take a picture for a bit. We have 100 over traders here today. Let me take. Um, however, I think Horace's concern previously was also given how weak dollar is, could we potentially be looking at a lower price for long on pound on euro dollar because we constantly aim to buy G and EU? Does it seem like we are chasing highs and sell high? Theoretically, we always thought to buy low, sell high, but right now it's likely we have to buy high and sell high. Yes, you can do it as well. But Eugene, just understand one thing. There is no such thing as buy high, sell high. And there's no such thing as overbought, oversold. If you really understand how market works, then you know one thing. There's really no such thing as too expensive or too cheap. Because all these are based on the perception of the traders, of the investor, of the big boys, right? So an expensive instrument, let's say gold is expensive, it will still go up. Why? Because everyone's perception, everyone's value is this is expensive. They are willing to pay more. They are willing to pay a premium, right? The same thing goes to currency pair. It can always continue just go into one straight line. If you look at, let me see if there's any example. Let's say pound dollar. Market can just from here go all the way up in a straight line as well. Can we predict that? We cannot. But the only thing is, do you actually have a strategy to take the trade? It all depends on one thing. Do you actually have a strategy that is meant to chase a parabolic trend? If the answer is yes, then you should be applying a strategy. You should be chasing the high. But for majority of us, do you have a strategy to chase a parabolic trend? I don't have one. Some of you don't have one. Some of you have, not sure. It all depends on one thing, which is your strategy. Eugene, you get it? Don't trade based on feeling. Don't trade purely based on gut feeling, based on instinct. Because instinct and pure gut feeling is not sustainable in the long run. It is not repeatable, but rather is too subjective. It all depends on, again, do you have a strategy, right? So Kevin said, I feel like the Trump tariff on China affects Aussie dollar more than pound dollar and EU from fundamental point of view, my 2 cents. So Rim saying, is the setup make sense if price break above 1.3? Yep. It is pound dollar, right? Yeah, it makes sense. So Rim said, okay, Eugene, you can see how Rim respond to this. So he say, for price right now, it's in the middle of a range. So we have a support at 126.88. We have a resistance at 130.40. So instead of chasing it, Rim's trade idea is I don't have any sort of entry technique here. I don't have any strategy to get into this. But what I can do is I wait for a BNR above that 130.37. That would again give me a proper legit setup. So thanks for sharing this, Rim. Yeah, it all depends on your strategy. So, Shimra, may I know if you frame the current Aussie dollar trade long as TPF or just a pullback? It is a TPF plus a pullback. Actually, TPF itself is also a pullback, if you get what I mean, Shimra. Yeah. So sometimes I will say TPF, sometimes I'll use BNR, sometimes they're really the same thing. Because TPF would bind at the shoulder zone, which is also a BNR, a pullback. But a BNR is also very similar. So I don't try to label it. I will say it's a combination of a TPM and a BNR. So if you look at Aussie dollar, you can say this is a BNR, sort of a BNR. You can also say this is a TPF. So yeah, labeling is not important. Yeah. EGM, can you go through HK50, DAS 40 and Dows? Let's have a look at HK50. Today, surprisingly, Tommy is not the one asking me, or Tony, Tommy or Tony, both of you from Hong Kong, both of you didn't ask me about HK50. It's EGM asking me. So, if you look at the 2-day chart, Tommy want to ask. So, it's looking very strong. So far, extremely, extremely strong. Expecting this to continue pushing higher. Yeah, super strong. We basically just printed a bull flag and a breakout. Yeah, the next key resistance will be, I don't even think that 25K is a major resistance. I think if we have the strong bull run, we are likely to see this push all the way into some of the even major swing high, like here I see 20, 26.2 or even higher. Because based on the current momentum, there's no pullback at all. So I believe we will see more strength. Anyway, it's not easy to chase it since it's so aggressive. Unless you want to chase the aggressive BNR at 23.25, possible. Yeah. HSI next resistance will be same. Yeah, this thing same thing as well. Let's have a look at the weekly. 25. Yep, correct. 25. Hong Kong's very strong. Nice one, Hong Kong. For the fellow Hong Kong people here, fellow 香港人. So Eugene says, since this week we have read news on Canadian, do you look at Canadian pairs for potential setup? The more general question would be, assume if there is a red folder news on a particular pair, would you avoid that pair or would that particular pair be of interest to you? I would avoid. Yeah, I don't really like to get into a pair that has multiple news in a week. Yeah, I just want to ask, like for someone living in Malaysia, we call Malaysian. For Hong Kong, what do you call it? Like Hong Kong, what do you call it? People's honky, is it? Is it honky? Honkians? Come on, guys. 香港 香港人 honky I heard is the Hong Kongnese. Hey, I'm serious. Please don't joke here. I'm just wondering. Harass 香港啊，你老母啊，你講乜鬼啊，大佬？香港啊，屌，Hong Kong nights. I think we better skip this topic. Let's go back. Why? Tommy asked, why don't you see? Tommy, you're asking HK50, right? Or HSI? HK50. 大佬問啲正經嘢啊，Hong Kong night，頂你個肺！Let me see. Let me see. Go back to HK50. Let's see. HK50. 20, 24.7K, you mean? I can't see any resistance at 24.7. Tommy, let me see. Mm, no, I can't see any of them. Yeah, I can't see any of them. What else? What else? What else? Any question? Stop the Hong Kong thing, please. Yeah, I was seriously asking like what do you call it? Some say honky. The moment when I see stupid people saying Honkians, then saying what Hong Kongese and what Hong Konger, Hong Kong, Hong Kong nights, Hong Kong, Hong Konger. 頂你個肺，被你激死。God, this is gonna be one of since pound on the euro dollar ran so much, I assumed it did a huge pullback. Wait, since pound dollar and go back to Eugene's question, since pound dollar and euro dollar ran so much, assumed it did a huge pullback, what level would be the level that would concern you since our bias is bullish? You mean assuming if market is still bearish, is it, Eugene? I'm not sorry. I'm a bit confused by the question. I think what from my understanding, again, from my understanding, Eugene is asking since the overall, the big picture market structure is still bearish, and he said that this could be a deep retracement before the next wave down, is it? Is this your question, Eugene? Eugene, why not you text me later after the meeting? So let's have a look at DAX 40. Oh, nothing to trade. Goodbye. Yeah, when you see a parabolic trend like that, it's definitely a goodbye. No more. Let's have a look at the Dow's. Dow's potential short at 43.298. Yeah, simple as that. Let's go. Uh, Eugene, ask me the question later in my DM. So some of you who's the one sending Jing Sen, citizens of Hong Kong are generally referred to as Hong Kongers and Hong Kong people. Ah, so Hong Konger is the right way. So Honky is the right way, is it? For some of you. Hey, so many of you are from Hong Kong. You don't even know. Like if someone asks you, Honky sounds like a donkey. So Hong Konger is the Hong Kong. So Rim, I have same question and Luca, do you think GU 128 is are also a POI? GU 128. Ah, possible. So you mean the BNR here, right? You mean this BNR here? Rim? Should be, yeah, possible. Possible as well. Because right now it's so strong, I won't be surprised to say, oh, market would defend some of these minor pullback before the next wave out. Yeah. What I meant was right now we are bearish on the XY, meaning we can continue looking for longs on euro and pound. However, how deep of a pullback will then make you wonder if you should still. Oh, okay. It will be very deep because right now, okay. So let's answer Eugene's question first. So you see, right now the overall market structure is still bearish. At what situation, at what scenario would I flip short on GU or EU? It would be possibly, let me have a look here. You see, we have some really major swing low on a high time frame, which is right at this potential BNR zone at 126.95. If pound dollar digests these anti-bullish impulse, reverse all the way back, I would then only call it a reversal. Otherwise, it is still bullish. Anything above this 126.90 is still considered a bias market. Yeah. Nabil, is your primary strategy BNR TPF? Yes, I believe 80% of our traders here have built their system around BNR TPF. And why I prefer traders use more BNR and TPF as compared to flag or rollover. Some of these because BNR and TPF they primarily use a horizontal support and resistance, which is again a lot more mechanical, a lot easier to handle as well. Flag rollover, some of these are more advanced pattern that some traders won't be able to understand it, won't be able to pick it up immediately, Nabil. You get it? And that's why TPF BNR is not just my favorite pattern, but I believe is most of the traders' favorite pattern here. So yeah. Honky is an offensive term used for white people. I'm not white law, just saying. Not daily ones. Hey, Horace, can you never mind, Horace. I will do a lesson on this topic. Can you send me the question again to my DM or inside the group chat, the Q&A group chat? Because I was thinking if I were to do it here, then it'll be combined with our weekly meeting. I want to separate another video into, I think it's better to separate one more video into our lesson on Discord. Yeah, I don't want to combine the entire thing. So can you send it one more time into the Q&A so I can do a lesson tomorrow? Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Horace. Yeah, that is nice watch. Fake watch. Fake one. Okay, anyway, any more question? Okay, so one more question from Ken Moon Lee. Would like to know more about scalping first. Is scalping using the same pattern you taught on the low time exactly the same thing? The main reason why we call it price pattern instead of anything else is because price pattern is uh how can I say is usable across all time frames. TPF, the logic is the same regardless if it's on high time or low time, BNR, all these are the same thing. If I'm scalping on the 5 minute chart, is it best for me to refer to a direction on the hit one hedge? Of course. Yeah, because if you were to just trade based on the 5M chart, how do you even understand what's the overall structure, overall market structure and everything? You would unless you want to be a pure scalper, then I think it's fine. If I do have infinity time and mental capacity, would it worth to scalp the market based on the return? I do want to say one thing. It doesn't mean you scalp, means you have a higher return. Most of the traders who lose all the money are what? All scalpers, right? So the idea of if I go down onto the scalping time frame, the intraday time frame, I'll make more money is not valid. It all depends on do you actually have a positive edge? Does it really generate a positive expectancy in the long run? Some traders are doing so well doing short to mid term. Some traders are doing so well in scalping. The key thing is, do you really know exactly what you're doing? Yeah. Otherwise, whatever thing that you do, you will always lose money. Whether if you trade the 1 hour chart, 4 hour chart, you will still lose money if you don't have an edge. Okay. Yes. Sharon, I talked about the topic already. Wayne say, can I see your watch again before tonight? There's nothing to see, Wayne. It's a fake watch. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. Oh my goodness, I'll be posting this onto YouTube. Not sure if someone would take this seriously and say I'm really wearing a fake watch. Uh, as TPF is the pattern, the higher time frame, is it proven success rate is also higher when the time frame is higher? Yeah, when you take less trade, your success rate will tend to be a little bit higher because you're being more selective with your entry, with your trade, right? With your position, sorry. So obviously your success rate will always be a little bit higher. It doesn't mean you have a drastic improvement in terms of win rate, but it will always be a little bit higher. Yeah, because you're being more selective. I'm back testing reversal TPF. And I'm only like 10 back tests deep. When can I say I'm confident enough to start taking live? You don't really have to complete a 200 sample size back test. If you have 50 and you're confident you can already trade live, but just trade on a smaller size, that's it. I said this before, forward testing, live trading is a lot more powerful than back testing. Yeah, back testing is a must, but you can't call yourself a real trader trading demo, right? So I watched the replay. Hi Neil, when do you trade profit last time? Do you have buffer in your fund account? If so, like how much percentage do you keep or what would be a healthy percentage? Wow, Eugene, so many questions. Oh my goodness, Eugene is another Shengrong. I I just saw. Wait, let me go back to Jason again. When you trade prop firm last time, do you have buffer in your fund account? If so, like how much percentage do you keep or what would be a healthy percentage? It depends on your risk, though. I would say if you're someone who's risking 1 to 1.5% a trade, obviously you need more buffer. But buffer as in you keep profit in your account, right? If I'm getting you right, Jason, is it? Yeah. So normally I will have 3 to 4% as a buffer. To me, that's more than enough because sometimes I only risk 1% a trade on prop firm's account. Um, I think 3 to 4% is more than enough. Yeah. Just a little bit that makes your confidence a little bit better, you know. But again, if you're confident in your skill set, the 10% drawdown threshold, I believe is fine. If you're confident. Yeah. Eugene, send me your question later. So Eugene is actually one of my mentees. Just be straightforward. So you can actually send me your question directly. Yeah. So okay, that's it for the session. It's a bit too long, almost 1 hour, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye. Thanks for joining today. Appreciate it.